Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining a wrap up podcast again. Today, I am with Janelle from Chime. Janelle, thank you for accepting my invitation and joining our podcast. Can you briefly introduce yourself to my audience so that they know who I'm speaking today to?
Course. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again, Sam. I am Janelle Sallenave. I am Chime's Chief Operating Officer based here in San Francisco. Cold day in San Francisco. But we are focused on helping everyday Americans continue to build their financial health. And we have a strong passion around using technology to solve those kinds of problems. So I'm excited to talk to you about AI and some of the other stuff we're up to, Sam.
Thank you very much. Yes, exactly. Today, actually, I wanted to discuss how you guys are implementing AI, or I would say generative AI in customer experience. But before we jump into AI part of the things, can you please explain me in a couple of words what's customer experience at Chime? How do you guys approach it?
Yeah, I think it's a great question because that can mean so many things in so many different companies. But
Absolutely.
yes, the way that we think about it here at Chime is our core product is literally a product, right? It's an app on people's phones. And we think a lot about how we use technology to provide really innovative solutions in the financial space that work for our customers. That's the heart of the technology. And then we think about the experience of the customer. We call our customers members, so you'll hear me say member a lot, but we think about the member experience as really being the sort of wrapper around that technology. So we're thinking about the entire life cycle from the time that somebody might hear about Chime and thinking about enrolling all the way through that enrollment, choosing to put their paycheck through direct deposit with us, different products that they might use when they have a problem, what I call falling off the happy path. How do we get them back on the
Right.
happy? All of those
Right.
things, a big hug that sits around the technology of the product itself is how we think about the in essence, the customer experience.
Okay, thank you for explaining. That's very insightful. When I heard that Chime has chief customer or experience officer, it was like something surprise for me because not every company has this type of role, and not it means that the company is focusing heavily on customer experience and improving it. So my next question is, how are you guys approaching AI or Gen AI, and in what aspects of customer experience you've decided to start with implementing this new product, or I would say experience?
Yeah, it's a whole new piece of technology. That's at least
Absolutely.
my opinion. So we started in the space that we thought would be the most obvious, with the idea that you land a place and then you sort of expand how you might use it. So we
Right.
started in essence, the customer support world, whether it's
Okay.
front office, which means how we directly interact with our customers to support them, or back office, which is work we do behind the scenes to support a customer. And so for us, the our interest in Gen AI was not a technology looking for a problem. Many folks
Okay.
today, sure, Sam, you talk to people like this too. And I hope nobody listening feels like they work at a company like this where they feel like, oh, Gen AI, it's a buzzword. I better go find something to point that at. We didn't start with that mindset. We started
Okay.
that with a business problem. And then we discovered Gen AI could help us with that business problem.
Mm.
So the
Hmm.
problem that we were trying to work on was pretty simple. We have a very, very engaged customer base because many of our customers use this as their primary banking relationship, which means they're in the app every day. They're using their card every day. And so our contact rate, that is how often customers contact us needing information or support, is relatively high because that
Okay.
relationship is so deep. So we've always
Yeah.
been interested in how to automate and get our customers answers to their questions, get their problem solved in the fastest way possible using technology. We have no problem, of course, with putting someone on the phone with one of our agents, but if the technology can solve it immediate and fast, let's do that. And the problem that we had was that we felt like we were sort of at the limit line, at the limit of what that technology was able to do. We wanted to automate more, and we wanted the
Hmm.
quality of that experience to be better. We were seeing a
Hmm.
real difference between the quality of the experience that our customers had when they talked with an agent or chatted with an agent,
Okay.
as opposed to technology solving it. And we're starting to see a growing
Right.
difference. And because we are
Sure.
obsessed, as you've hinted at, with how to make the best customer experience possible, having tech that delivers mediocre, just okay experience wasn't enough for us. And so when we said, well, how do we fix it? We realized we need to leave the IVR behind. We need to leave the declarative bot behind, and we need to jump to Gen AI. And so that's where we start. We started with a in essence, a test, a bake-off between our old declarative chatbot used by our customers and a new GenAI chatbot. And we did that in late 2024. And look, whenever you're trying something new, unexpected things are going to happen. But one of the
Absolutely.
wonderful things about it was even before we got stat sig, even within the first week of that pilot, we saw an immediate improvement in the quality. And it wasn't to say, great, 1 week pilot over, let it go. Not at all. It told us that we were on the right path and that we should roll up our sleeves and dig in and really figure out how to make it work because it had so much potential. And that's what we've been doing over the last year and a half. We started on chatbot for support. We
Okay.
added voice bot now earlier this year, also for
Wow.
support. So whenever
Mm-hmm.
somebody contacts us, if they're a verified customer, they will interact with Jade. That's the name of our bot, whether you're typing by chatting with her, live chat, or you are talking on the phone to Jade. You start with Jade before you ever get to one of our human agents. And what we're finding is that our customers are feeling the positive impact of interactions with Jade. But we have a golden rule that we never let ourselves break, which is we will never introduce friction getting you to a human agent. We are not trying to think through the mindset of having Gen AI replace agents. Of course, that's happening. We love the ROI on that. We love the cost savings, but our number one goal is how to make the quality of the experience better. And so as we've made the Gen AI solution better and better and better, more and more of our customers are choosing not to say agent, 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 which we've all had experiences where you're stuck in a bad IVR and you're pushing zero because you need a human. We're trying really hard to make that experience so good that our customers don't want to do that. And we've seen a substantial increase in our automated resolution rate because of that hard work.
Right.
And we see so much more
Right.
upside because Gen AI is constantly improving.
Let's talk about metrics. You said you immediately started seeing ROI, like return on investment. You see the numbers going up. Okay, what are some of the most important metrics for you guys, and how do you measure it?
Yeah, we have two metrics that are equally important. And one might
Okay.
say, well, you need to force rank. Which one's really more important? And I say, no, we have two metrics and they're equally important. You can't win
Mm-hmm.
by going like this. We can't win by going like this. They both have to improve. And for us, the two
All right.
metrics are CSAT. So how the customer feels after the end of the call, that 1 to 5 star survey that we all get,
Yeah.
and what we call automated resolution rate, which is sometimes called containment rate, but it is what percent of those interactions do not have to get escalated to a live agent. And so for us, increasing that automated resolution rate is how the ROI comes. What it means is that we can shift costs out of our BPO spend, our agent live
Okay.
spend,
Yeah.
and save some of it. And obviously, a portion of it then goes to pay for the Gen AI. So that's the pure ROI. But what we're really looking
Okay.
for is how to drive CSAT up. And
Mm-hmm.
what I love about what we're trying to do on Gen AI is basically have our cake and eat it too, right? Because what I mean by that is we are saving money and improving the quality of the experience. And normally, when we
Okay.
improve the quality of the experience, you pay for it. If I want a
Mm-hmm.
better human agent, I move it onshore instead of offshore, and I pay for that, right? And the ROI
Right.
is on how much retention I might get from the customer because the agents are better. Well, here I'm getting savings. So it's an infinite ROI in terms of improving quality, right? But what we love about it is not only are we automating more, and we've gone, for example, on chatbot. In our old declarative world, we had 50% automated resolution, right? We today sit in the low 70s. And so if you do the inverse of that math, it means instead of 50% of our volume going to the BPO for live chat,
Mm-hmm.
now down
Mm-hmm.
to, the high 20s. And so that has saved us a lot of money because we don't need as much staffing. And what I think makes this company a little special is we didn't book all of those savings. We booked some of them. Let's be clear, we're a for-profit company, but we've reinvested some of that into the live agent experience because we believe that as Gen AI can take more and more and more of those transactional support types, there are moments
Okay.
that are not transactional support, but are actually moments that really, really matter. Maybe it's an account takeover concern that somebody has, or a transaction
Okay.
recognized, right? It really is a trust moment. And we want those to be able to go
Mm-hmm.
to human agents, and we want them to be able to really spend the time on the phone and really be there for our customers. And so we're able to, in essence, self-fund investments in those deeper live conversations because we've been able to save the money on the Gen AI side.
Right. No, I have to touch this point. You just mentioned that you saved a lot of money. It was cost cutting for you. I am a bit skeptical when I hear such terms because I saw the case with Klarna, for example.
Yeah,
So they also made a lot of
yep,
announcements. They
sure did.
said GenAI helping them to save a lot of costs. They basically uh, don't need that many staff now. But after some time, they said like we are hiring back
Went too far.
people
Yeah,
because
yeah,
maybe it was not that true. So does that mean also that you guys had to cut some of your stuff, or how did it affect like the processes internally? Did it help your stuff to do better with Gen AI, or like after you have Gen AI, you say like, okay, we can now get rid of like that many people, and Gen AI will handle the rest? What's the case for you guys?
yeah. I think our approach is maybe a little different from Klarna's, with the caveat that I don't work at Klarna. I read the same things you read, Sam, about what they share externally. I think there's a philosophical difference that maybe we've taken, which is
Okay.
um, our primary objective was not
Hmm.
ROI. That's our secondary.
Okay.
Our primary objective was how to make the customer experience better. And what that means is we don't decide when to cut staff on our BP
Hmm.
or on our agent side.
Hmm.
Our
Hmm.
customers do. So what do I mean by that? Until our customers decide that they want to keep talking with Jade and don't want a human agent. Until our customers decide that that sort of self-service or interaction with the bot works for them and don't choose to say, get me to an agent. We don't get rid of the agent staff. That's our golden rule. We do not put friction in the experience to say we've replaced the human interaction with the Gen AI. What we've said is we've created a Gen AI experience that we think is good as what a human agent can do. And we are going to keep working at it until you, our customer, trust that this is worthwhile and you choose to do it. And the little that I've read externally, for example, from that Klarna one and other companies, is they shift to, well, this is now Gen AI. And you get stuck in this loop as a customer of like trying to push zero, right? It's they're
Yeah.
not understanding what I want and so on. And so we spend a lot of time every single week because we're kind of a data obsessed company looking at all those escalations, looking at for issue type by issue type when the customer decided that Jade, our Gen AI solution, wasn't good enough and they wanted a human. We look at all that data to understand what happened in that moment where we didn't use technology good enough for what our
Hmm.
customer was looking for, and what insight do we have, and what insight do we want to share with our Gen AI partners, our vendors that we work with, so they can keep improving their models. And we iterate and we iterate and we iterate. So it's we're winning this war, 1 inch at a time, if you will. And when I say winning the war, I mean
I
getting to the
understand.
end state that we want to get to.
Sure. You just said that it's the customer who decides when, let's say, you would remove human from this loop. Do you guys have any metrics when you can say, okay, now we know we don't need human anymore in this loop? Gen AI can handle everything. Do you have any such metric?
Absolutely.
And do you believe this is going to happen in the next year or in the next 2 years? Or do you have some timeline when you believe and you can say, no, we don't need human anymore in this loop. Gen AI will do everything.
Yeah. It's not as black and white as we don't need a human in the loop anymore. It's many shades of gray. So what do I mean by that? Um, Jade is handling whatever Jade is able to, plus our customers decide they're trusting Jade to handle, and everything else sort of escalates up into our agent, our live agent group. Now we mostly use BPOs because that's the most efficient way that works best given the type of growth that we've had. And
Hmm.
so we have and I'm sure many of your listeners do too, a pretty robust workforce management team whose job it is to figure out how to staff the BPO just right so that our customers never have to wait, more than a certain period of time to get to an agent. And over time, what we find as Jade gets incrementally better and incrementally better and incrementally better, our workforce team says, "Ooh, We have 5 too many agents. We have 15 too many agents. We have 20 too many agents. And so we make those adjustments. Think of it as landing a plane rather than, I don't know, crash landing the plane. It's a
Of course.
gentle landing, that we're doing. And so we make those adjustments, every month, every quarter as the team keeps making progress so that we don't have agents sit around literally waiting for the phone to ring. And so
Hmm.
that sort of
Hmm.
balance that we're looking for. Now, your comment about when do you realize you don't need humans in the loop anymore, it is
Yeah.
black and white on the back office side. When our customer facing elements aren't present. So if you think about in the financial services world, there's a lot of paperwork, if you will, there's a lot of back office processing that needs to happen. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't recognize a transaction, they'll speak with Jade, they'll speak with a human member of our team that say, I don't recognize this transaction, and we will intake that information and commit to doing an investigation. Well, all that investigation work happens behind the scenes. We don't do it on the phone,
Right.
right? We do all the
Right.
work. And so as we've found ways to use um, AI and sort of other solutions to automate steps there, that is black and white, Sam. Because once we test it and we say it
Okay.
works and we flip the switch, I've now taken the human out of that step of the process. And that's where we do very purposely have that snap our fingers, take the human out.
Hmm.
For the customer
Hmm.
stuff, it is very gentle and we do it slowly and carefully because, again, the experience is always what we're trying to optimize.
Yeah. And how do you approach safety? Because we are talking about banking application that are a lot of there is a lot of sensitive data, card information, bank balances, and etc. How do you approach this?
Yeah. I'm not a technologist, so I can't tell you the details of exactly how all the APIs
Sure.
work. I'll tell you
Sure.
philosophically the way that we've approached it.
Yes, please.
We choose to think of Jade. We choose to think of our Gen AI as an agent.
Okay.
No different than any other agent that works here at Chime or is in the BPO supporting us,
Mm-hmm.
which means we QA them the same way that we do an
Yeah.
agent. So when there's a phone interaction, for example, with Jade, that transcript goes through our uh, LLM and sort of other automated QA processes the
Mm,
exact same
mm.
way that the phone call would go through if Janelle, the agent, were speaking to a customer. So we sort of try to keep the standard the same. So that's sort of one part of the philosophy, and then the other part of the philosophy is the brain, the Gen AI knows exactly what the agent knows. So that brain, if you will, has access to all of the content, all of the standard operating procedures, policies, all the stuff that our human agents are trained on. And they have access, the brain has access to the exact same screens, the exact same tools
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
live agent has. And so, with a philosophy of saying, well, it's just another agent we hired, it happens to not have blood in
Mm.
its veins, it has zeros and ones, in its code. We take that same philosophy. And the great thing is, unlike humans, sometimes we learn and then forget and then have to relearn and we're tired and we make a
Of
mistake.
course.
The Gen AI may make that sort of one edge case it'll come across that we haven't taught it about. We'll catch that. We will teach it how to do that edge case, and then it never forgets how to do that edge case again. So every week and every month, it's getting smarter and smarter. But we were very, very careful to not roll it out until we felt like we were absolutely confident that it was going to behave the same way that we draw the line for our agents. So we started with our employees. We let our employees
Mm.
play with it first. Then we let our
Okay.
BPO agents play with it. And that was great because our BPO agents know exactly what the last 5 questions are that, they got from our customers. And so they tried, all different ways and we encouraged them. We would pick a theme for the day, a topic for the day, and just have the BPO agents go at it to try to get it to lie, say something false, make a promise that was wrong, sell you a car for free. I don't know, whatever.
Test it.
Yeah,
Test
test
it.
it, right? In a way that was complementary to obviously what our QA environment does. And only then did we start with a very small pilot, less than 1% of all of our customers, and gently sort of, ramp our way up. And I think for us, going slow to go fast has been a really great way to approach the Gen AI work
Mm.
because we are all learning together at the same time. Every day is a brand new day.
Yeah. Janelle, look, by profession, I am a product manager. So in the past 7 years, I've been working in this industry, in the payments industry. And I will go and start looking a bit into the future. So my next question would be, since you said your AI agent lives inside the application, do you think in the near future, basically that the traditional interface of the banking application will disappear and everything will become a simple chat where you just speak to the AI and get the information and get the things done? Do you think that will happen in the next 5 years?
Also, you're asking me about what my crystal ball says. So it's just my crystal ball, which
Yeah.
sometimes doesn't work, right? But I think that we are at the beginning, not near the end of this journey. As I said when we started this
Okay.
conversation, we started thinking about how to apply Gen AI in the use case of customer support. That was sort of where we wanted to,
Okay.
but that's not the goal. The goal is not to land that, right? The goal is actually to think about how do we make the experience as amazing as possible. And to your point, this is just where we're starting. What we've now done over the last year and a half is built trust with our customers that Jade, and they know she's a bot. Like that's not, we're not trying to hide that fact, obviously. But they've come to understand and trust her. And so now we're really challenging ourselves to say, okay, she sits in this one particular place in the app. Our
Mm,
customers understand to use her for this type of use case. How do we start thinking bigger about how Jade can not help you in a very personalized at scale way for that moment where you've fallen off the happy path, as I call it, but
mhm, mhm.
be more proactive? Where can we start doing more advisory sorts of I mean, there's so many ways to go. So
Absolutely.
that feels inevitable to me. Now, is it 2 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 2 months? I don't know, Sam. It all changes so fast, but I would be very, very surprised. I'd be willing to bet very good money that the way that Jade shows up and how integral, she is or the Gen AI, capabilities are to
Mm,
our customer experience in the next 3 to 5 years is material to where it is today. I think a lot of
I
the
see.
things about how you interact with the app will really start to get fused with interacting with Jade. Why do I need to know where in the app to navigate to? Why can't I just talk to Jade about the problem? Why can't Jade talk to you about the question you don't even realize
Exactly.
you should be asking? So we're really, really interested in all of these. And I think the experience that we've had with the customer support use case that we started with has given us confidence to dream as big as you and I are just starting to talk about. Even though it's still sort of
Yeah.
pipe dream, even though it's still imaginative, it's coming off of a last year and a half of experience that gives us
Mm,
confidence that it absolutely
yeah.
can be that way. Because today, more than 70% of our customers choose to let Jade solve their problems for them. That's a huge vote of
That's a,
confidence. And so
exactly.
the question now for us is, well, where can we go from here?
This was actually my next question. What should customers expect next year? Let's talk about the next year. If you could just give a glimpse of the near future from customer experience perspective.
Yeah, I'm not sure that our customers necessarily have articulated to us what they want next. I think a lot of what's our responsibility is to understand their needs, understand
Okay.
where they have to put in a lot of effort and say, well,
Yeah.
how can we find solutions to that, Gen AI or else or otherwise,
Yeah.
to help
Yeah.
us get there. And so a lot of the things that we spend our time on, and this is why Gen AI is so powerful, not just in again where we landed on support, but we're now using Gen AI to help us better understand the depth, the nuances, the subtleties of the challenges that our customers face. Not because our product is defective, not because
Hmm.
the customer fell off the happy path for some reason, um, but because there's a need that is adjacent to or slightly orthogonal to the product that we built for the problem statement. And so we are using Gen AI in massive ways to better understand how we need to adjust our roadmaps, where we need to make tweaks or the next product feature, and so on. And then we've done this thing that I think is I love it, but I also do recognize it sounds sort of sci-fi. We've taken so much of this data that we have about our customers, and we basically built a Gen AI that is a focus group. of our customers. And so
Okay.
now we still, of course, do real focus groups. Of course, we still talk to
Sure.
members, but because of the
Sure.
massive data set that we have from all of the interactions that we have and all of the research that we've done, we basically have, personas of our members. And so it
Mm-mm.
lets us, in essence, brainstorm with our customer through this sort of AI interface about
Right.
where should we go in continuing to push our product. So there's so many applications for how to use Gen AI that aren't
Absolutely.
necessarily direct, but more indirect, in doing our product development.
Right. Janelle, it was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you joining us today, and thank you sharing all these insights. Looking forward to receiving more updates from you guys and more Gen AI products in the next year. Thank you very much.
Great to see you, Sam. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. And I will